the homeware.
Hi everyone, Chris here. Busy episode this week, lots of things happening. We upset the authorities on the way and do a few other things. But if you remember from the last episode, we were in Grimsby and we had to say goodbye to James because he had to go back to work. So Paul and I spent a couple of days in Grimsby, had a look around Cleethorpes, which is next to Grimsby. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about Grimsby at the end of this video. But today's legs was to get up from Grimsby to Hartlepool, which obviously means going up the east coast, and we had some interesting little things here, one of which was the importance of ringing ahead. We were trying to go to Whitby, and Whitby, we rang out the harbour master there, and basically we couldn't get in. There were too many boats in there and not enough deep water, so we had to go to Brunswick Bay for an anchoring off in what turned out to be a lee shore. So I'll say a little bit more about that later on. First off though, I want to talk a little bit about navigating with Navionics. In this particular screen here, I have got a route which I have plotted from Grimsby here. I'm heading off to Whitby on the North Yorkshire coast. So this is straightforward enough, you would have thought. Now, Navionics, at least if you buy the premium version, will allow you to plot the route for you. You stick in things like the draft of your boat, cruising speed, etc., and it'll work it all out for you. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't follow regulations about harbours, etc. So here we are at the Humber Estuary, that's Spurn Head, and there's a traffic separation scheme here. Just bring it up here. There's a traffic separation scheme here, and if you look on the harbour website and you look on all the stuff that's around this area, it tells you not to cross the shipping lane this way. It tells you to come down and use a yachting channel, so you would come down here and cross these two boys here. As it's set up, the route goes straight across the shipping channel, and obviously you'd keep out of the way if there was a ship coming, but nonetheless the harbour would like you to go down here and cut across shipping lanes at 90 degrees where I'm pointing here. So if you just let the Navionics do it for itself, it'll cross traffic separation zones, and it'll actually give you a warning telling you it's crossing it, which is good, I suppose. That's a good thing. But equally, it would be nicer if it didn't set you across traffic separation schemes going the wrong way, because as we are here, you're actually heading directly against the oncoming shipping. So just beware of that. If you're using Navionics, you probably need to manually override it, and it's just a kind of cautionary tale to make sure you look. Okay, so having told you all of that and being very smug about it, we actually got this wrong. And as you can see from the track on the screen, what happened was we sailed out. We were sailing against a northeasterly breeze here, nice and close hauled, lovely day. But we had strayed into the traffic separation scheme, and so because we were good boys and use our AIS, we got called up by VTS Humber and told to get on with getting across the scheme. So just be aware, they are watching you. It was rather embarrassing to be told this, because obviously we knew that we were supposed to stay outside of the scheme, so we were naughty boys and we felt suitably chastised. So off to Filey. Now we wanted to do this trip in day sails because this part of the coast of Britain has an awful lot of pot markers, people trying to catch crab and lobsters, etc. And there are pot markers all over the place, which makes any kind of night sailing, and particularly night motoring, particularly hazardous. So you want to try and avoid that. So we wanted to make this a day sail, and Filey was a sensible distance to go. So quick shoot up the east coast. Rather a long trip in the end. It took us about 12 hours in the end or something like that. But we arrived in Filey and at the appropriate anchorage. And it wasn't quite an easterly wind, it was a sort of northeasterly type wind, and there was quite a lot of rolling overnight, so it wasn't the most comfortable of places to stop, but nonetheless it was okay. The boat didn't drag and we got a good night's sleep, but as you can see from the video, we were being knocked about quite a bit even at anchor. So pretty good, and then we're going to do the same thing again on the next day. Okay folks, it's Whitby. I'm not actually trying to go to Whitby, but you would have seen Whitby Abbey if we had better weather. It's been nice and misty all day today. Indeed, it was so misty that we couldn't actually see Brunswick Bay when we arrived at it. It still looked like this. So we had to sound in, relying entirely on the plotter, which was a bit awesome. I'm afraid I didn't film that particular bit because we were concentrating on not hitting anything. But it was a pretty grim day, and we didn't see what the anchorage looked like until about 9 or 10 o'clock at night. The fishing pots. So we arrived at Hartlepool and all was good, but one of the things that struck us when we got there was the contrast between what Hartlepool had done with its marina area and what Grimsby had done. Hartlepool, the marina is a major complex of flats and restaurants that's been developed in recent years, and it's really quite a buzzing place. The locals treat it as a venue to go to, and there are lots of restaurants and bars there which you can enjoy even if you're not a yachty. The marina itself is really good. It's got all the modern facilities that you'd ever hope for, and lift out facilities, a great lock, a whole load of things going for it which make it really rather good. So we've got the bars, we've got the restaurants, and there's a good sort of buzz about the place. Lots of people using it as a venue. So here we were on a Thursday afternoon, and there's people doing karaoke. Even in midweek, and there's also the Royal Naval Museum there, which has got HMS Trincomalee. That itself is well worth a trip. Good day out, especially if you've got kids as well. Really interesting. So Hartlepool claims to be the best marina in the East Coast. I haven't been to all of them, but it certainly struck me as quite good. And there's a reason to go there. It's a kind of attractive kind of place. Turning to Grimsby, now Grimsby is different from Hartlepool in that it's owned by a cruising association, and the dock area is currently up for sale. And really, this is an opportunity to make it look a little bit like Hartlepool. It'd be really good if it was like that. At the moment, when you go there, you've got to work your way through all sorts of rundown areas before you get to see anything interesting in Grimsby itself. And there's nothing there at the marina because things like the yacht club are only open to the public when there's members of the club present to do it. So when we were there, a couple of guys kindly gave us a pint, but they were itching to leave, so they didn't really want to hang around while we enjoyed ourselves in the pub. It's all very well me saying this, of course, because I haven't got the money to invest in this, and I imagine that most of you watching this video don't either. But you can see what Hartlepool have managed to do with an area like this, and it would be really good if it could happen in Grimsby too. We wish them well. So that's our little sort of semi-political bit for today. Next time we head off up to Lindisfarne and thence into Scotland.